All right, everyone, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. Going to be getting into the FedEx St. Jude preview and picks here, and this is going to be kind of a similar week to that we had last week. You know, it's a no-cut event. The kind of the same approach applies. You know, want to do kind of a studs and duds approach. It's a week that you really don't want to attack too much, but you can have a really good week with these weeks, which has kind of happened the last 2 weeks with the no-cut events for 9 to 5, and we'll get it kicked off here with the recap of the Olympics. But real quick before I get into it, I do want to mention NFL DFS content is out. I know I asked you guys last week in this video what you guys' thoughts were, if 9 to 5 should continue to do all the sports together on one platform or create a different channel for YouTube. Decided to keep it all together, so that video has already been posted on YouTube, so definitely make sure to check that out. All right, let's get into it. So just looking at guys, it's one of those weeks, and this will be the same week as well, but last week was one of those weeks in which you got to really trim down your player pool, and even the betting card. The betting card had 4 players in it. It was Xander, it was Hideki, Jonathan Vegas, and then, I had another long shot in there. But, it was nice to see Xander go on and win. Top player in the 9 to 5 model, top player in the player pool. Awesome to see, but look at it, guys. 33% of the 18 players finished tied for third. Obviously, there's a medal there for bronze, and they didn't all actually end up finishing fourth, but they did finish T3 and then the playoff or whatever. But 33%, that's pretty darn good. And then just looking at the top 22s, a bunch of players tied for that, but 77% of the player pool finished top 22 or better. So overall, really good week. You can see the top 3 core plays finished first, 16th, 4th, and then JT 22nd. That's not all that you want, but overall pretty good. Nice to see Mito go out and finish well there as well. So last 2 no-cut events have been pretty darn good there. Shout out to Xander, pretty awesome pitcher there as well. Just a cool moment for him and kind of everyone involved. Definitely a fun tournament. But let's look at this week, guys. So one of the interesting things about this tournament, like I said, is that it went from being a full tournament field event to now being a no-cut event. It does suck for PGA DFS purposes, but they do that in order to draw bigger names to come in, and that's exactly what they did. One of the weird things I noticed is that when looking at the key stats, there is kind of somewhat of a difference, but not when you dive down into like the top 10. And before you get into the top 10, just in general, there's no real key stats popping up too much. A little bit ball striking, birdie to bogey ratio is really popping out, and par 4 scoring. But then once we drop it down into like the top 10, then we really start to see those key stats for this week popping up. It becomes significantly ball striking, significantly birdie to bogey ratio, par 4 scoring. Good drive percentage starts to pop up there as well. So we have a pretty good indication of which players are going to go out and play well. There's going to be a lot of upside. We're going to be able to hit on the guys that are going to finish top 10. Once again, this is going to be a no-cut event, so you're really trying to studs and duds it, and that's the approach you could have went with last week. That's the approach I'm going to go with again this week. So just looking over, JT and Brooks were the last 2 winners at this course. -13 and -16, not that great as a whole. Average winning score of 14.5 under par. Already kind of went over the key stats, but looking at it, top key stats are going to be Morikawa, Berger, Ancer, Webb, Patrick Cantlay, and Louis Oosthuizen. Then looking at course history, there's a lot of guys this week that have really good course history, whether it's just in the no-cut event or just looking back in the past. I mean, Louis Oosthuizen really popping up there as well, just in everything that you guys can see. But looking at Matthew Fitzpatrick, been really good there as well. A 6th and a 4th place finish. We can look at something like Webb Simpson, 12th and a 2nd place finish. Looking at Brooks Koepka, 2nd, 1st, and then 2 pretty good made cuts, I guess, if you will. DJ has a 12th, 20th, and 1st. I mean, it's crazy good, guys, for course history this week. And then just looking at recent form, Usti been a stud. We know that. Colin Morikawa, we know that. Jordan Spieth, 13 straight made cuts. Paul Casey, Lowry, and English. No surprises there, really. But this is a week in which I'm pretty excited about it, guys. Once again, it's going to be a week in which you can really studs and duds it. And I think that's the approach that we should go with once again this week. So just looking at it, it's tough because this range is pretty darn loaded here. It's tough for me to like really tell you guys, hey, we need to play this guy or that guy. It can be a lot of mix and match. And the one thing I will say is that the 9-5 model has been freaking awesome, especially with like the first rated player in the model. It's been a first place, a second place, and a first place finish the last 3 weeks. Okay, so Collin Morikawa is going to finish first or second this week. That's what it's telling us, guys. So honestly, I really don't know if I can afford not to play Collin Morikawa. But before that, I do want to get into a little bit of the specialist page here. Once again, just kind of looking it over. I do want to look at par 70 and only courses. He was done really well there. I'm just looking over. So let's just go back. Let's go a calendar year. A little bit less than the calendar year. So most strokes gained total in a par 70 course. Sam Burns casually popping up there. That's a name I'll throw up there a little bit later on. Matt Jones popping up. Kisner, DJ, kind of just something interesting to look at. Nothing that you want to go crazy with, but it's something fun to look at. And then you could do a bunch of other stuff if you wanted to as well, but I kind of wanted to pull that up before we dove down into it. I guess we can look long term as well. So let's do that. We'll do long term, just pretty much last 4 years. How about? We can see who really pops up there. A lot of rounds in there. Webb, Roy, Xander, Scotty. So, we get a pretty good indication of, who plays well on par 70 courses. That's really what we're trying to see there. If anyone moves the needle here or there, we're just trying to search for stuff when we're looking at the specialist page. But one thing I want to pull up, we're going to get into it right now, the high tier plays. I'm not going to start with Abraham Ancer. We're going to start with the top player on the board. That's going to be Collin Morikawa, guys. You already know that. I really like Collin Morikawa this week. I think he's kind of the class of the field. We pull it up. Stat-wise, he's looking really good. Really, the only bad stat is actually par 4 scoring, which did surprise me. I don't know if that surprised you guys, but did for me. Other than that, top 5 in all the key stats that we're looking at this week. That is obviously something that we like to see. Top stat rank play, top player in the 9-5 model. Enough said. That's going to be the theme I started to go with here. But really, just the class of the field, really strong play for you. And then after that, I really do like the idea of going with Louis Oosthuizen again. That really nice thing about PGA DFS is that you don't have to mix it up. If it's working, if a guy's doing well, you just keep playing them until they let you down. Second best player in the 9-5 mile. Now, he does have some, I guess, bad stats popping up a little bit. 75th in par 4 scoring, and then 76th in strokes gained differential. Oh, well. Effective scoring, though, guys. Let's look at that. Effective scoring. Third best on tour for effective scoring. Once again, that's the 9-5 only stat. We'd love to see that. We can see his recent forms. Second, third at the Open Championship. Don't have the strokes gained data in there. That's why it's pulling up blank. And then second, 18th second. I mean, the guy's been a stud. Really cheap price point for him as well. Maybe he's priced there because he doesn't have the winning upside. I don't really get it. It's just a strong play. Louis Oosthuizen at that price point. I don't think I can ignore that. Then we can go a little bit lower. I don't really ever like playing Brooks Koepka. I always feel like he's a risk to miss the cut. Well, it's a no-cut event. Okay, we know we're going to get the rounds out of him. And he has strong course history. Even when this was a full tournament field event, he played in it, finished 37th, 30th. That's still not bad. And then first and second. So really good course history for Brooks Koepka. Not going to be the best stat fit. Still kind of suffering stat-wise from earlier on in the season. Once again, I always look at full season data as opposed to not full season data. But look at his recent form. 5th, 4th, and 2nd. A couple of miscuts mixed in there, but we don't have to worry about that. With Brooks this week, top 9 in the model. Now, yes, he does cost a little bit. I'm not saying I would go crazy with him, but maybe 15%. I feel pretty good about that. Don't mind putting him as like an outright bet as well. And then just talking about the last player here, it's going to be Daniel Berger. So Daniel Berger did finish well at the Open Championship, finished 8th there. We look at Chandler Classic, 34th. Probably looking ahead a little bit there. 7th, 20th. Kind of a bad start, and then a 3rd place finish. So the upside's been there from him. If we can get a top 10 finish out of Daniel Berger, a guy that's finished 1st and 2nd at this tournament, yeah, that's highly intriguing to me. Stat-wise, he's right there. 2nd best stat in the field, actually. 4th best play in the 9-5 model. Really think Daniel Berger's a great option at this current price point. All right, so then we move down to mid-tier price point range. I do think starting off with someone like Matt Fitzpatrick makes a ton of sense. Has that good course history. 6th and 4th place finish. We like to see that. But he also is a decent stat at top 22, which he's not horrible in any stat as well. So we do like that. Give him a little bit of bump just due to the fact that he has good course history. Top 20 play in the 9-5 model. We'll take that, especially given his course history. I'm looking at Shane Lowry. Shane Lowry finished 22nd last week, which wasn't horrible. We'll take that. 12th the week before, but he has finished 6th and 30th at this course in the past. Overall, he's going to rank out as a top 8 play in the 9 to 5 mile. You can get a top 8 play at 8.6. That's pretty good for me this week. And then looking at Webb Simpson, don't really know how to feel about Webb as a play. Finished 20th at the Open Championship, was kind of hit or miss for a little bit there this season, but 12th and the second place finish overall, 4th best stat fit, 3rd best course history. But the problem is he's like the 50th best in recent form. It's a riskier play, but it's one of those weeks where there's going to be inherent risk. Okay, top 15 play in the model is getting knocked a lot because of that recent form, but hey, that's a risk we can take this week given the fact that it's a no-cut event. He's a guy that should eventually put it all together this week. And then going down, we're going to drop into Corey Connors. So kind of the problem with this week is the same problem that we had last week, is that there's a price range where there's just no real point in going crazy with any player in this price point range, because we have some really good value plays there actually, guys. So we know what to do with no-cut events. It's to go studs and duds. So my issue is that a player like Corey Connors ranking out top 15 in the model, that's great. Decent results, 30th and 27th. We'd probably want a top 20 finish out of him, but top 10 staff fit this week, 13th and a 15th place finish over his last 2 starts. That's great, but the issue is really fitting him into our builds when we got some other quality options down here in this low tier price point range. And we'll start off with kind of the narrative boy from last week, Sungjae Im. 22nd place finish. That wasn't horrible last week. It's whatever. 20th place, or 20th in the model, 35th place finish last year. The thing I'm kind of hanging my hat on with him is that, just a strong stat fit. Par 4 scoring, we talked about how that's going to be a key stat, 21st in that, ball striking 11th in that, good drive percentage, top 20 in that. So really good stat fit, top 10 stat fit. He's a guy where, yes, we are chasing the stats and kind of the caliber of player that he is career-wise. He's a guy that could put it all together and, really go out and get a top 10 finish. I don't think he's going to win. That's kind of the issue with him as a pick. Then we're looking at Harris English, guys. Harris English I really do like as a pick as well. Look at the course history. Miscut and a top 10 finish. Hasn't made a start here in the last 2 years, but overall top 15 staff fit. Overall top 6 in recent form rank. I always like playing Harris English. You guys know that. That's kind of the issue there. So we can actually pull him up here on the player profile as well. We'll type in Harris. Give you guys a nice little view of him. So yeah, top 18 in the model. I'm playing well. A first, a third, a 14th, 64th, and a 13th place finish. Pretty good indication that, he should be a good play at 7.6. Yeah, it's going to be worth the risk. And that's kind of my issue. It's like, why would we pay up for, I guess, some of the course history with like Webb and Fitzpatrick when we can get a guy that, has a top 10 finish and, has been rolling. So it's kind of the issue this week is that it's really easy to do a studs and duds build, and maybe that's how you be contrarian. I don't know. In GPPs, you could easily do that, I guess. After Harris English, I do like Billy Horschel as well. Don't love him. Not someone I'm going to go crazy with. He's just one of those guys where he has good course history here. So you can chase the good course history. He just seems to play better at this stretch of the season as well. We can see it, guys. 4th, a made cut, a 9th, a 25th place finish. Honestly, if we get a 25th place finish out of Billy Horschel at this price point, not going to be killer. That's not going to hurt you. I'd be fine with that. And then after Billy Horschel, we got one other play, GPP only play here for you. That's going to be Sergio. But he is a good stat fit. Top 14 stat fit, top 21 in the model. Let's just look at his key stats. So ball striking, top 10, par 4 scoring, top 20, strokes gained tee to green, top 10. So yes, the path for him going out and having a great week is there. Let's just take a look at when he finally broke through. We have to go back a little bit further. And won. Keep going. So he was not in the best recent form prior to his victory. Okay, guys? And he just kind of put it all together. Kind of like Cameron Champ last week. So he's kind of been trending in the right direction a little bit. And you could somewhat say that about Sergio prior to his win. I'm not going to say he's going to go out and win, but I'm saying he could potentially go out and kind of put it all together and have a really solid round in this one. Just... I don't want to play him because there's better value plays. Once again, I know that's the theme I've been using, but it's true. I already pulled up Sam Burns a little bit on the specialist page. You guys saw that. Ranks out really well in that par 70 courses, okay? We can probably kind of see why. Not a horrible stat fit. Top 21 stat fit. Good in par 4 scoring. Good in ball striking. Effective scoring. Top 21 in that. That's pretty good for value play at 6.9. Don't mind that. Top 26 in the 9 to 5 model. Yes, his recent form hasn't all been there, I guess, but he's had some close weeks where, you know, just could close out a victory. I'm not saying he's going to go on and play well this week, but there's a path where he does. And then we get a little bit lower. There's 3 options that I really do like. I'm not even going to mention. Well, I am going to mention him, I guess. Cameron Champ, decent, you know, 11th in the first place finish. You could easily play him, but kind of maybe a less obvious play would be Kevin Kisner. 8th and a 5th place finish before, you know, the Open Championship. I'm fine with that. Course history wise, 25th and 27th place finish. Once again, at this price point, if we can get a top 25 finish, we're going to take that all day. Overall, not ranking out as the best play. Probably a better option to just scroll down here so you guys can see him kind of compared to some other players, how he's popping up. You know, that's not horrible. We'll take that there from Kevin Kisner. And then let's go a little bit lower. You know, Matthew Wolff, he's a guy that can put it all together. I don't mind that. This is ugly. This is ugly, guys. I'm going to say Phil Mickelson, though. Look at that course history. 2nd, 57th, 12th, and 9th. Kind of crazy. He's top 11 in course history now. Horrible in recent form. Horrible stat fit. We know that from Phil. I don't know. He knows the course. We'll just put it that way. That's going to get some ownership for me. 5% maybe. 8%. Just a really strong value pick. And then lastly, we'll go into Stuart Sink, who hasn't been in good recent form. But he's had some rough stretches this season. But course history-wise, a 4th and a 10th place finish. You know, 3rd best course history with, you know, 2 starts, I guess. But model rank, top 30. You know, if we can get a top 10, obviously we'll take a top 10. Top 20, top 30 finish out of Stuart Sink, knowing that he has the upside to top 10. I don't mind that this week. You know, we're going to be okay with that. I do want to mention one thing before we finish up here is that I do have the NFL content going out there. I know I asked you guys about that last week. I already posted a video there. Got the Hall of Fame game going. I'm pretty excited for it. So if you guys want to, make sure to check that out. But that's all I have for you guys for this video. Should be a pretty good one. Make sure to do, you know, studs and duds. Like I said, that's always kind of the proven lineup approach. And I know it's tough because there's so many like decent plays or quality plays in the mid-tier and low-tier price points, but time in and time again, we see that that's the lineup path that you should go with, especially last week as well. But that's all I have for you guys. Thanks for watching as always. Let's keep cashing.